2025 Early Connections Conference, Expression, presented by the Van Sound Foundation. Early Connections Conference logo. Mindful parenting, nurturing yourself while supporting your child with disabilities.
Good morning. Let's start. I appreciate your timeliness. My name is Ann Phelan, and I am honored to be a member of the staff here at Perkins. I work for the Perkins Transition Center, which is a virtual hub of everything transition. So typically I work with people 18 to 22 and above. However, when I was invited to speak today, I was really excited to reach out to you because in my decades of experience, I have found that I've always wanted to work with the younger parents because pre-paving transition now will lead to better outcomes when they turn 21 or 22. So with my introduction, I'd like to self-describe myself. I'm a short, older middle-aged person with long brown hair, and I'm wearing a black suit, and I'm smiling because I'm really excited to be here. So when I first came in, I parked over here and I saw some cars from out of state. So I celebrate those who drove very far to be here. And I celebrate those who came today from near, because really you created a community coming here together. And so now, whether you were already a Perkins member of our family, you're now officially a member, and we will have you here until you're ready to move on to something else. But this is an honored space. I think of it as a hallowed space. My journey here started in 1983 when I did an independent study in the deaf-blind program. And my grandmother lived down the street. She was an Armenian genocide survivor, and Perkins was part of my culture. But when she died when I was 31, I hadn't come back to Watertown until a year and a half ago when I was hired to work here. So my history is part of Perkins again, and again, I'm honored to be with you. Today is a mini retreat. I'm a little nervous today, and I'm a big speaker, but I think that means that I have a lot of adrenaline energy about presenting something that I think is really, really important. And today in the workshops, I looked at them and they're all very robust, but this one's a little different because you're in a mini retreat. So I open your minds to be vulnerable today. You don't have to participate, no group discussions. It's just within your own body space and head space. So let's just see how it goes. I think the first thing I want to know is anybody here integrating or part of a mindfulness practice in your own life? Okay. So we have 4 people with their hands up that are meditating. And is anyone comfortable sharing what your practice looks like? Yes, please.
Yeah, I would say every morning I would take 5 to 10 minutes and just do a guided meditation. And then each evening I do another 5 minutes.
Do you use an app?
It depends. It's just however I'm feeling, but often if there's a lot of external noise going on, sometimes I will put headphones on and use the app. But if I have a quiet space, no, without an app.
Okay, thank you. So the question I had was, what is your mindfulness practice? Thank you.
Sure. Yes, my mindfulness practice is 5 to 10 minutes each morning, sometimes with an app and headphones if there's a lot of noise in the environment. And then if it's quiet, no app. And then in the evening, another 5 minutes before bed.
Okay, great.
Pretty religiously.
Thank you for sharing and being vulnerable, being the first speaker. So today, I want you to be comfortable in your sensory space. If you want to move about during the practice, we will meditate. It won't be very long. There's plenty of places on the ground to sit. If you want to sit with your legs crossed, if you want to stand, I want you to be comfortable. All right, I'm following the arrow. Sorry about that.
Just click the mouse
The mouse? Okay. Okay, great. All right, wonderful. So why I think this is really important, when I am working with teenagers who are dysregulated, who are not connected to their emotions, it presents a lot of challenges in their experience, whether it's in education or in public or at home. I also find that in my years of working with parents and professionals and caregivers, there's a lot going on. This is a very different experience for parents and caregivers and what their vision was when they decided to become a parent. There's caregiver burnout. So this is a crucial, and I'll say it again, this is a crucial practice for all of you. And today, the takeaway will be, you're going to run home and tell someone, I wish you were there today. And it's not because I'm a great teacher, but because you're going to come away with information that really resonates. Because right now, how many of you are on autopilot in your life? Right. Everybody has their hands up almost. So, all right. So I'm a mindfulness-based stress reduction teacher, MBSR. It's just a type of mindfulness. The founder of the practice was John Kabat-Zinn. Dr. Zinn, Kabat-Zinn started at MIT when he was a graduate student in molecular science, and he went on to UMass Worcester and created the pain clinic mindfulness practice, which was really intended for people who had pain. This was in '79. But he has certain aspects of mindfulness that are really important. So I'm just wondering how I see below the black box. Will it just kind of move?
Working on it a little bit.
Okay, well, we'll go with what I can see. No, the black box is there too. Well, anyway, non-striving today, you don't have to have anything, a goal or an objective. Let's just see where it goes. There's no right or wrong in mindfulness. We always let go of judgment. So that monkey mind of, I'm thinking again, I can't get quiet, just let it go and see what happens today. We always begin with a beginner's mind, like this is the first time ever. So whether you have an established practice, this is a new beginning. Today is new, right now. Be curious and open to allowing.
So you want to use the clicker to move this slide?
I'd use the clicker now. Okay. Thank you for your patience. Sorry.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So just we're reading with a click on the screen and then this will get going.
Click on the screen. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
click the mouse on the screen and it'll.
All right.
Click.
So my teacher, John Kabat-Zinn, defines mindfulness as the awareness that arises from paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So I'll let you read that quietly and see where that sits. So why mindfulness? First of all, it builds resilience. It helps us regulate our nervous system. It supports the entire family. It's inclusive. It's free and accessible to all as long as you are breathing. So everybody's breathing. There. So as I said a little while ago, you have many roles. You're a caregiver, you're a mom, a dad, a grandparent, a driver, a personal care attendant, an advocate. You've got a lot of hats. You know, I want to know, how many of you are professionals in the field? Gotcha, thank you. And how many of you are caregivers? And parents? Okay. Anything else that's a category I didn't include? Grandparent, great, welcome. So finding a balance is really critical, and mindfulness is a key to that. Learning self-care and self-compassion is a positive for us, but also for our children and our students and our clients, because we're modeling something that's really important. So something that keeps us from mindfulness. I don't have time. My mind won't stop. My kids won't do this. I don't deserve free time or space. Nobody else can manage the things that I do. How many of you feel that? Yeah. We're going to talk about that a little bit. One of the things that I think is important is we create routines in our life, right? Our bedtime routines. We've got to get that 8 hours sleep. We know that scientifically we see that's important. We have our coffee. We let the dog out. We have breakfast, but mindfulness needs to be integrated in there. And I love that you said 5 minutes a day in the morning. It doesn't have to be like a sitting down in lotus position. Mindfulness can be really in the garden while you're working. We'll talk more about that. It can be taking a shower. I have a little quirky thing that I do sometimes. I'll be transparent. Sometimes I actually sit in the shower and I just let the water flow on my head. And it is one of the most beautiful times for me that I'm mindful. I'm just paying attention to the water. And my eyes are closed and the water's warm and it's kind of dark. I have the light off. So whatever space you want to create, you can do that.
And you don't have to, once you click on the screen, it should work for the rest of the time.
With this.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And if it happens again, then try.
Okay,
I think you'll
great.
be all set.
So you might be already tapping into tools or rituals. Some of you are meditating. Maybe you're doing walking. Maybe you're into yoga. But I'm sure some of your kids are definitely tapping into some ways that they're self-regulating. Rocking, twirling. Those are types of self-regulation for our kids. And there's some more. I can't see it. Oh, I remember what I wrote. Bouncing. How many of you have those rebounders or trampolines? Yeah. Oh, I see it. Dancing. So these are things that your kids are doing that you can do. I already told you a little about John Kabat-Zinn. And these classes, the mindfulness-based stress reduction classes, typically they're 8-week courses. And they're everywhere. So if you're ever interested in taking this course, there's a lot of them that are free. I'm actually hoping to do an 8-week course for parents and professionals here at Perkins, and it would be a virtual class. So, take my card and keep in touch with me. Also, we'll talk a little bit more about how you can access meditation, but I would like to do a little practice with you. Let's get going. So I haven't figured out what I want to do, so I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. I see so many smiles, and that's very welcoming for me. Thank you. I would like all of you to just kind of get quiet in your space. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And if it's available to you, if you could put your palms of your hands on your lap, ground your feet to the floor, straight spine, shoulders down. Maybe rock your head back and forth just to release any stress from driving or maybe being nervous at a conference, you don't know people. Just let that stress flow out of your body by creating a space with your spine erect. And just settle into your breath. Just slowing down, nowhere to go, nothing to do, no right or wrong. And if it's available to you, you could put your hand on your belly or chest if you would like to follow the breath. Otherwise, you can keep your hands where you have them on your lap. And just for a few moments in silence, just notice your breath. You might notice the inhalation through your nostril, cool breeze in, Warm breath out. Or maybe you're noticing the rise and fall of your chest or belly. So just for a few moments, without my words, bring your awareness to right here. Now, if you're like me, you've probably had 100 thoughts in that 2-minute span. So here's what I welcome you to try. When the thoughts enter your mind, notice what the thought is, and then come back to your breath. And you might do this over and over. And it doesn't mean your brain isn't working or you're overworked. It just means your brain's doing what it normally does. So let's go back to the breath and then notice the thoughts and then come back to the breath. And now you can just wiggle your fingers and toes and come back to our space. I hope that you're comfortable, if you are, with some interaction. For those who have never meditated before, any feedback on what was going on? Anything that you noticed?
Hang on, can we pass you the mic?
Thank you. Would you repeat it for our recording? Thank you.
I just felt like a freedom, like a weight lifted.
Nice. Did anybody mostly think and have thoughts? Yeah, me too. Okay, that's really normal. Sometimes they call it the monkey mind. We're going to do some more meditation. I don't want to immerse you too fast.
Hang on 1 minute, Ann.
Okay.
I'll get your slides back up. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties on the webinar end.
No worries. We go with the flow.
Thank
We'd be very
That's
mindful.
what- Right, mindfulness helped with that, right?
Maybe while we're waiting for that, I want to introduce something to you. So there's a lot of gurus, teachers out there. Are you familiar with any of the people in the mindfulness world? Any names or mindfulness teachers that you follow that are in social media? So a couple of the big ones, Jack Cornfield, and Sharon Salzberg. There's also there's meditation centers in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Insight Meditation in Barrie. They're all over the place. And I'm sure if you're in a yoga practice, you're doing the Shavasana at the end of your practice. So mindfulness is a program. So my partner has always said to me, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to be mindful. And he thinks of it as it's an event. He thinks that I'm going to go, like, I'm going to run a mile, I'm going to do yoga, I'm going to put oil in the car, whatever. It's not a thing. It's really a state of being. That's all it is. Mindfulness is paying attention to the moment with your breath. But you can also meditate in other places and practice your mindfulness. As I said, I told you I have that kind of quirky way of being in my shower, sitting on the floor of my shower. I also, when I'm in the garden and sometimes I'm digging the dirt, I'm just trying to notice the smell and the sensory experience of that. There is actually a practice called mindful walking, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like. It's just when we actually took the class, we actually would walk in a very small space. And so it was just grounding our feet to the floor, feeling the touch of our feet on the earth. And it was just very slow and intentional. It took me a while to get into that. I thought walking slow was a little bit awkward, but it's a very, very prominent part of mindfulness. Eating. Okay, so has anyone ever heard of the Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh? Okay, thank you. A few people have. Have you read his books? A little bit. Excerpts. Thich Nhat Hanh was an amazing person. Mindfulness is not really a religious base. There's Buddhism involved with mindfulness and meditation, but it can also be non-secular. But Thich Nhat Hanh was a Buddhist monk, and he's written some beautiful books. And one of the practices I learned was mindful eating with an orange. It's a really great fruit. So there's oranges out here. On your break, I would love you to have a homework assignment. I would like all of you to grab an orange today. At some point, sit on these beautiful grounds by yourself and just peel an orange and just notice the zest, the smell, and then put the orange in your mouth and notice the texture and the taste. Because remember we talked about being on autopilot? That is really a bad way to eat. Oh, we'll talk about the parasympathetic in a little bit. It's so important to slow down your eating so your body can properly digest and you can enjoy your food. So I'm so excited that you're all going to do the assignment I told you to do. By the way, please interrupt, raise your hand, or talk any point. I really would love interaction. Pick up the clip again. All right, little science. The sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight response. Maybe I felt that a little bit. Maybe my adrenaline, my hormones were up a little bit, being excited to be here with you. That is how we feel when we haven't eaten in a while. We sit down to eat and we're just chowing down, gobbling it down fast. We're not really eating slowly. This is sort of a biological process that started before time when people had to fight for survival, and it's just a normal process. The parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest response. This is how we regulate our emotions during a stressful event. So a couple of things to help with getting to your parasympathetic state. That's where you want to be. It's not bad if you're in the sympathetic and you're kind of racy and you've got a lot going on. You have to go to an IEP meeting, or you're meeting with an attorney or an early childhood provider. You're meeting with the speech therapist after the evaluation. That's a normal time that you're feeling increased energy. All you really need to do, here I go, all you need to do, right? Just take some deep breaths. Also, humming is huge. Has anybody ever heard of that? Okay, thank you. Do you hum to get kind of calm? Have you, yes, a little bit? Please try humming before you have your orange today in your homework assignment. And, you know, you might look a little weird, but hey, we're weird, right? We're here. We're all a little bit quirky. So just right before you eat, it takes a minute just to get a little bit calm so you can enjoy your food. The vagus nerve is playing a major role in relaxation. And the vagus nerve is something I don't want to get too technical and talk about, but I would like you to read a little bit more about it in your leisure time to understand how mindfulness will help. Here's the thing about mindfulness. you can actually rewire your brain. There's something called telomeres, and these are these fiber things in our brain that we can actually change and change the way our neuro makeup is through mindfulness. So if you've been years under stress and trauma and emotional states, mindfulness can really impact that in such a positive way. So you're actually going to be on a healing journey today in our little mini retreat. And you may take it on, but what's really important is integrating this in your home, in your office, in your practice with your grandchildren. It's really important. There's a little quote there. I did want to get a little scientific. Dr. Brendan Kelly says, when we're relaxing, our vagal tone will naturally be higher. When we're active or under pressure, the nerve is not needed and it shuts down. We really want to just really relax through the breath. So you probably can figure this out on your own. When we're in the chronic stress mode, which most of us are, driving on the highway, everybody's delivering an organ, it seems, right? Everybody's in a hurry. The manners are gone out the door. These IEP meetings or meeting with the neuropsychologist, whatever is, we're just always triggered by these constant barrages of stress. We know that it can lead to illness. There's chronic stress that can relate to gastro problems, anxiety, just all kinds of things. We need to quiet our body and get out of the fight or flight mode. And the benefits are here. It reduces stress for sure. It has shifted my life. I have to be honest, I started many years ago, but it wasn't until 2020 that I started my practice very seriously. And that's when I noticed I have anxiety. That's why I'm always picking my fingers. That's why I'm twirling my hair. That's why I'm having these racing thoughts at 2 a.m. I just thought that's who I was. I didn't really know. And I still have anxiety, but it's changed so much. And it's not a lot of time in my day. And I'm not sitting in lotus position. I'm actually eating or in the shower. It does lower blood pressure and improves our immune system. It also helps our focus and attention. So this is a weird thing that I started noticing, and I told some of the people in my practice, I find myself not in a word, but saying to myself, I'm going to go take a shower, I'm cooking dinner. I'm really aware of everything I'm doing. The autopilot in my life has shifted a lot. It's turned down a bit. Also, it's free, and you can do it forever. So today we did the mindful breathing. Now we're going to try the soundscape. So I'm coming back over. It's 11:02. We're doing great. Let me get a sip of water. Everybody, let's drink some water. So you can do the breath, but now we're going to do the soundscape. I like this one. I do this with one of my special needs clients. My client, she really likes this because the breath is something that she's not able to work with easily. So let's go back into our position. We'll ground our feet on the floor, both feet on the ground. Let's see if you can sink deeper into the chair this time and really feel gravity. Palms facing the sky. Align your neck in a straight spine. Let's bring our shoulders up and down and bring our shoulder blades back so we're almost sticking our chest out. That's the natural state that we should be in. And I just want you to bring your awareness to the sounds. Whatever is predominant, whichever comes out first in your hearing or your soundscape. And I'm going to be quiet for a while longer this time. But remember, when the thoughts come, notice them and go back to the sound. The sound is your anchor where you return. to the awareness. With your eyes still closed, I would like to introduce an idea. When the thoughts pop up, I want you to note what the thought is. So for an example, worrying, planning, organizing. It's called a noting practice. So now with the thought, you're going to note and name what the thought is and come back to the sound. So play with that. And remember the sound is your anchor. All right. Coming back to the space we're in together. These are little short nuggets. We'll do a little bit longer. I think the fan was pretty predominant for most of us. If you were in a quieter place, you might have heard your stomach growling or maybe a lawnmower. I really like the soundscape. What was the difference between that practice and the breath for you? Did you notice anything different? Yes, thank you. We just grabbed the mic. Thank you.
I felt like I actually was able to have fewer thoughts, like intrusive thoughts this time, because I was really focused on like hearing each sound. And maybe those are intrusive thoughts too, but they weren't like, what's going on outside of this? What's my son doing? What, it was just like, oh, I hear the keyboard clicking. I can pick that up. Or I hear someone shifting instead of like out external anxieties, I think. Yeah.
Anybody else? What was the difference between the breath and the soundscape? Or did you notice,
Oh, grab the mic, sorry.
did you notice that there was more space between the thought and the sound? Little bit? Wow, you're good learners. Anybody else? Okay. The next one is called a body scan, and we're not going to do it here because it's pretty long. But in the slides, will they get the slides actually? Okay, so you'll get a copy of the slides. You'll remember John Kabat-Zinn. If you go on YouTube, John has a 20-minute body scan. And I like that one versus the 45-minute because I'm pretty wired and hyper sometimes. But the body scan is really great if you have pain or physical discomfort. It's great for our kids that have physical challenges, medically complex challenges. You can do a body scan very slowly, but I'll explain it to you. You basically start either on the crown or the toes. And you go through the body with every body part. And what you're doing is you're just creating a mind's eye while your eyes are closed on that body part, and you're noticing any sensations. So if I'm on the knee, do I notice any pain, coolness, warmth, or nothing? And the body scan is really a way of bringing your awareness to that body part. So if someone has a headache and they come to the crown, what we do is we teach them, okay, I feel an uncomfortable sensation. Can I breathe? Can I use the breath to release some of that? So this is a really great practice for physical, but a lot of people like it. My client that I told you about, she really loves the body scan. Did I do something? No, you can hear me okay. So again, you'll probably notice that your mind's going to wander, and that's what our mind does. Just letting it go. And I would love you to practice the noting practice. When you did the noting practice, did you have a predominant thought? Was it worrying or organizing? What was going on? Did you notice anything? I'm always planning. You're planning? Yeah. A lot of head shaking for planning. Okay. Also, when I'm not in control, like I am up here, and I'm in your space, sometimes I get bored, a little bored, like, or, why did I come to this workshop? I should have gone to the other one. Or, you have these thoughts, we're humans, right? Thank you for being here. I'm glad you found your way. So a couple of takeaways. Mindfulness is free. Mindfulness builds resilience in our family and within ourselves. You just need a little bit of time in the day. Again, you don't have to sit on a mat, get into lotus position. You can practice it preparing a meal in your bath or shower or during a walk. And I always encourage people just to start slowly. Okay, we're going to talk about tech-free. You've been really great. I've been watching you, and I haven't seen you on your phone, which is really great. That's hard to do, and there's no judgment, right? Our phones are attached to everything. We have to work today, maybe. Maybe we want to hear our babysitter's okay. That's all right. But I think it's really important to incorporate tech-free time in your family. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And building routines, that is so key. Do you have routines in your life already with your children and people you care for, your grandchildren? Can you tell me about some of the routines that might relate to this practice today? Yes, please. We have a microphone coming down. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. It really helps all of us, and I don't want to enforce that you have to do it, but when you share, it really brings meaning. Thank you.
I was thinking about our bedtime routine with the kids, and for me, there are these moments where I'm rocking my little girl and putting her to sleep and singing. And when you were talking about humming and breathing and being present, like in those moments, there's some of my favorite moments of the day because I'm fully there in that moment and enjoying that experience. And not thinking about the list of things I have to do. It's like just precious time.
I told Justine that I'm very skilled at speaking in public, but clearly I'm not. I felt that experience when you just said that. How many of you just felt your love and beauty with that? How old is your child?
She's 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's so beautiful because the closeness, the distraction, and the humming, like I actually, when I'm stressed out, I have a cat. Sometimes I just nestle my face in the fur and I kind of hum, and they immediately start purring. And I feel that, that with your baby, that closeness, whether it's an animal, a child, is so beautiful. Thank you. May I ask how old your child is? 2.5. Anybody else? How is your child? 8. We have a share. Hold on, please. Oh, I don't mind at all. I insist.
Yeah, something that I recently introduced to our 8-year-old who is congenitally blind and neurodivergent. With his ADHD, we noticed mindfulness can be a little more challenging. And so we've introduced spa night. And so after a shower or a bath, I'll turn on spa music and he's so curious and he asks for it almost every weekend. But I turn on the spa music and it's just really miraculous to see how grounded he becomes. Like it's such a difference. And I'll even get him into my bed and do like a lavender eye pillow over his face. I put his wrap his hair up in a towel. I do it all. It's just so beautiful, but it's a really lovely moment for both of us to become a little more mindful because I'm very present in that moment with him, even massaging, arms and legs. But it's like transformative, truly. It's beautiful.
I really love that. I think we should all integrate spa night. It just is such a release, the both of you, when you share that, I could feel the parental weight just kind of smooth out and slow out, flow out of you, because you have a lot, for being here today. You're here to learn about everything you need to know about your experience and how to improve and enhance. And I really love these shares. And they seem so simple, but they're really, really valuable. I want to just take you to 21 and 22. Okay. Don't freak out. We're just going to talk for a minute. But that is my lens of experience. And when I have children who have learned how to regulate their emotions and their bodies and their sensory experiences, when they get to the age of turning 21, 22, leaving high school, that cliff is not so steep. So I think it's really valuable to remember that the transition outcomes are far better when your children, your grandchildren, your clients are able to self-regulate. And this honestly is key. So other strategies, the breathing exercises, I don't know if you notice right now, I feel like I haven't taken a deep breath in a little while, so let's just do that. Let's just take a nice deep breath. You can close your eyes for a minute. Just remember to breathe deeply, to really deep down. Sensory spaces. Everybody in this room should have a sensory area in your office, in your house, in wherever you live, that is a go-to for calm. And I think there's really some cool strategies. How many of you have weighted blankets for your kids? Do you know how many pounds the weighted blanket is? They come like 10, 15, 7 pounds. Weighted blankets are key. Really, they're incredible. I love what you spoke about your 8-year-old, putting, something wrap around the head, being tight. I had a student who still wear a backpack that was about 30 pounds, and the teachers would freak out and try to have her take her books out. And I'm like, no, that's what grounds her. Fidgets, there's some in the exhibit area. Somebody has these little brains I told you about. Aaron putty or silly putty or Play-Doh. I actually was going to bring some for us, and we talked about humming already. So here's some resources that you'll have access to later. The well-being scale is something really neat to look at to see where you're at in your family. Actually, University of Massachusetts has mindfulness programs and they're free. There's a Monday night 7 o'clock sit and a Thursday 12:10 sit. And I do the 12:10 almost every Thursday. The teacher's fantastic. It's free. I turn it on Zoom. I have my camera off and I just kind of get into my little space. And I actually blocked it off on my Google Calendar so nobody can schedule an appointment with me. So don't be afraid to put those spaces in your life. It's really important to build them in. I told you about Sharon Salzberg. She was one of the founders at Insight Meditation in Barrie, and I really like her. She does mindfulness for caregivers. So I encourage you all to Google that. Sharon Salzberg Caregivers. Her meditations are really transformative. Jack Cornfield is wonderful. And there's so many free apps, Mindshift, White Noise, How We Feel, Calm. What are you using for apps? Anything we should mention? Wait.
The Apple has apps that link like to your Apple Watch or your Apple phone. Some are free, some are paid, but I find them really useful. I think it's Apple Fitness.
Apple Fitness, great. We're going to look it up. And then YouTube, all you have to do is mindfulness meditation. There's just so many. You find one that you like. There's also, I didn't put it here, I should have. There's also a song that scientifically reduces anxiety. It's called Marconi Union. If you take my card, I'll email it to you.
And I have another suggestion for some apps here. Someone said Insight Timer and How We Feel.
Thank
Both
you.
Great.
Insight Timer and How We Feel. Thank you. So what I'd like to do is just again let you know that feel free to reach out to me. My business card's there. And I have some flyers up here. I want to take time and kind of come out to you and see if we can have some questions and answers and thoughts. And if you want to share something that's going on in your life with your child and you're wondering if there's any strategies, my background is in clinical practice as well. So I have a little bit of insight. I might have some strategies for you. Thank you so much. I'm going to come sit over here so I can get close to you.
We have a question online. How can we improve our practice if we are beginners? As a mother, I'm experiencing a chronic fatigue. So when I try to do this practice, I fall asleep.
That's really common. It's, you're getting a massage or you're doing mindfulness, falling asleep is really real. John Kabat-Zinn has talked about the corpse pose first thing in the morning. The corpse pose is just still, the Shavasana pose, right? So basically, one try is when you first wake up, before you go reach for the phone, don't do that, by the way, it's bad. Just close your eyes and just kind of notice the sounds in the room or outside before everybody outside your room starts bombarding you or you have to go do what you have to do. That's one suggestion, one strategy. And then take these ideas about having to sit in this position or getting on the mat, but maybe try mindful eating, yogurt, something that's, different textures. Garden, shower, just closing your eyes and feeling the water beating down on your head, feeling the warmth and just coming to the breath. It doesn't have to be, again, sitting in an actual position. It can be anywhere. And I welcome our virtual audience to continue to share and be grateful that you're here.
Another question, how can we access the talks or practices if we're not in the US? This writer is in Mexico.
Oh, thank you. Gracias. So there's so much online free content. Actually, in my practice, I am in a Sangha, and the Sangha is kind of a yoga word for a group. And in my Sangha, which is an international one, we have people from all over the world. So there's so much access. So if you contact me in the information that's on the slide, I would be happy to direct you. Mindfulness-based stress reduction classes are in Mexico for sure. It's international, and they're in the UK and Canada and every single country. Some of the practices that the 200 people, the practices, and what we need to do in the chat box is put where you're from and from all over the world. So that's a really great question.
Have you found anything different about your experience teaching mindfulness to students who are blind or visually impaired?
So I have noticed students, I work with students, all disabilities, visually impaired, deaf, blind, physical, intellectual disabilities. And before I came, it was a residential school, and for 15 years, and we started mindfulness in the school, and we had a practice every morning. Everybody in the whole school shut down, and we meditated for 15 minutes. And then we taught meditation, and I never thought that these kids would be quiet. I just didn't think they could get still, but as soon as I started, they were quiet. You could hear a pin drop. So the question is, yes, I've seen it important and happening. And a woman that I've been with for 16 years, I have to meditate every hour. It's what she wants. And, she has an intellectual disability. She's visually impaired. She loves to get quiet. And I think when you start to have this in your daily routine, it's part of your makeup. It's just shifting in every single way. So yes, I encourage it.
So this is online, a similar question. Do you have any recommendations on how to introduce mindfulness in disabled children with difficulties in comprehension and attention?
So the attention piece, 100%, I have seen transform. The students I worked with for 15 years, I think most of them had a diagnosis of ADHD, and they were able to sit quiet. They were able to sit. Just takes practice. And I told you a little bit about the myelin and telomeres in the brain. When you repeatedly do something, it shifts your neuropathology. So I have seen it. With people who have intellectual disability, I just think creating sensory places where they can regulate, maybe with putty or weighted blankets, or they have lap things you can put on. I find that the sensory is a beautiful way to self-regulate and can shift. And also just coming up with a term in your office or your school that is internationally recognized as it's our quiet time. You can call it spa time, you can call it quiet time, you can call it mindfulness, whatever you coin it, it doesn't matter. That is the place where everybody just gets real quiet. We put our phones down, the TV's off. Great questions.
Any questions in the room? I do have another one. Oh,
Okay.
did someone put the hand? Okay. Is there any guided meditation for children with autism? We practice meditation at home and try to keep the kids exercising too. We're from, I'm sorry if I don't say this correctly, Puerto Vallarta. I just mentioned to the teacher that it would be good to practice meditation at the next parent-teacher meeting and to teach how to do it. Thank you.
Is that another Mexico, Puerto Vallarta? Oh, that's a beautiful place. I'd like to go there and teach. You can invite me. Visually impaired autism, I don't think that we need to categorize the disability. I think it can be across all spectrums. It's just accessible to everybody. I feel like, we have comorbidity. A lot of our kids are also on the spectrum. So just give it a try. And I love that you had a suggestion to have mindfulness before every parent meeting. That would be brilliant. Before you go to these meetings, honor where you're at. Have self-compassion for the journey that you're in. Again, let's start from the beginning. Community together. We're forever connected. You just have to reach out to me and I'm always here. I'll do a mindfulness practice one-on-one with you. Or I can guide you to find a practice or give you strategies. Because the Perkins community is building supports for all of you, and you're now a member of that community, whether it's new today or you've been connected here. We're so grateful that you found us. And I'm so thankful you came here today because there was another workshop, and I'm glad you found this one because you meant to be here. This was what was supposed to happen today. So take away one thing. Don't feel like everything we talk about you have to. Just take one takeaway and try that.